Leading 14-13, can he sustain it? Roy Armstrong and Hugh Johns.
Tommy, who took out one of the, I think was one of the fancied bowlers at the start of the tournament, Kevin Shaw. I think there has been quite a lot of money on Kevin to get to the final.
Yes, I think Kevin was what you could call not a fancied outsider, but almost an outsider, and Tommy had to play at his best to beat Kevin in that game. But he's a fascinating character, Tommy. The delivery style that he has is quite unique. He's got no backswing at all, but he's got very, very strong forearms, and he can reach forever. He's a really good long-distance player.
Roy Moxon took out Barry Sim just 21-19. That was a very, very tight game in the first round.
Moxham 2.
And Roy Moxon's back in front again with that double. 15-14. So Roy Moxon with the block back in his hand at last. Sets off across the green. This curly sort of a mark. What a good lead. It wasn't far wrong. Well, if you can just spring that block fractionally, it's a nice target. He's got the bowl that's furthest through, as Tommy. But he could get a wick on it. Oh, he won't with that. No, sir.
Moxham 1.
So Roy Moxham, with his nose in front, setting a block out just across the crown and down the other side, halving the green.
Yes, I know that last year, Hugh, I think Roy Moxon's a cool customer. I played him in the semi-final of the Talbot, and when we shook hands at the beginning of the game, his hands were ice cold, and then he proceeded to put an extra shirt on, so I think he keeps quite cool.
Well, it's already very hot and humid down there. But you've got to keep cool if you're going to win this tournament. This best money tournament in the game of crown bowls. And Roy Moxon has lost a very good chance here. He's blown away his 2 bowls, and Tommy must get 2 out of this. Oh, that's rubbing it in, isn't it? 16 apiece.
Tommy's still persisting in the pub corner. I felt he might have just tried the other diagonal, but he really thinks that the winning of the game is in this corner. Playing thumb peg, aiming point about 5 feet to the left of the jack. Quite a bit of bend at the finish.
Yeah, that's where the bias takes over and trickles the bowl down absolutely perfectly. Bias on the left-hand side of the bowl as we look at it there, the right-hand side from the footer. Heavy, heavy. Well, he needed to hit something to stop then. So he replaces the what was almost a jack toucher with his own ball, and he's holding 2. No way, surely he could hope to trickle down from behind.
Johnson, 2.
That was possibly a tactical mistake there, Roy Armstrong.
Yes, I think it was a two-minds bowl. He waited a very long time before he delivered it. He wasn't quite sure whether to strike, whether to change his peg, or whether to play to save, and in the end he did neither.
So the end product of that mark, Tommy gets 2, but more importantly, he gets the opportunity to exploit the diagonal that he reckons he can win the game on. Well, they're a long way away, aren't they?
Yes, it isn't a particularly easy corner, and where Tommy's got the jack, it's a little bit difficult. In fact, the other peg is almost straight at it, but Tommy's staying with finger peg.
It's a little better. Still a little bit heavy. The land was right, the line was right, but dear me, the weight was not too clever. That's going to win it.
Moxon, 1.
Very, very good pressure bowl then. So 17-18 off the map, Roy Moxon.
Taking a lot of time to deliver this jack, thinking very carefully about where he's going to go. I think really what he should do, he should go towards the pub. He usually plays well there. No, he's going to a shortish length. He's playing just over the centre of the crown, playing straight peg actually, playing finger peg. This is a very short length. It's only about 22 yards.
There's a nasty little bit of land right in front of the footer. You'll be awfully careful because it bumps away and takes weight off. Tommy found a clear road then. Now Roy Moxham is not putting pressure on Tommy with his lead ball.
Get out, get out.
Oh, Tommy can get himself 2 here. Yes, 2 more.
Johnson, 2.
Well, Tommy has scored 3 doubles in the last 4 ends, which really is the mark of a man who is definitely going to win this game. Tommy in that blue shirt, his mind totally focused on this game of bowls, but a little bit later I think possibly focused on a similar colour when Tottenham travelled to play his team, Tommy's team, Man City.
Moxon.
What about it, Tommy? Are you there? Well, let's see what Terry Ashcroft. Yes, that at the moment is the match-winning bowl, so the game is against Roy Moxon. Unless he changes it, he is out of the tournament. This one bowl to stay alive. Great chance, great chance. I think that's won it. If it has, that was a cracking bowl under pressure.
Moxon, one.
Well done, Roy Moxon. Gosh, he was under some pressure then, Roy Armson.
He certainly was. Of course, in that corner, the jack was only 5 feet on. Anything further, it would have gone off. And this is absolutely vital for Roy now. He's leading. The last 3 occasions has been pretty poor. And now here he is. He's going down the side of the green towards the pub. The feature of this end is that most players would play short down here. It's a bit heavy in this direction. He's playing straight peg. He's playing thumb peg right along the edge. You mustn't get too low here.
Well, I watched Tommy practicing this mark on Wednesday. He went up and down in front of the VIP tent for half an hour or so. So this piece of land will not be a strange experience to him.
Tommy's actually gone the other way in, Hugh.
Yes.
He's changed the peg. He's gone finger peg, round peg, bias towards the ditch. And I think he's lying in just about 1 yard and 6 inches past the jack.
Oh, took a nasty hop. Roy Moxon doing the same thing. Again, he's bowling to stay alive. And again, he's found one to beat Tommy. But Tommy has the winning of the match with this bowl now. And the pendulum swings first one way, then t'other. Gone well out underneath.
Moxon, one.
Moxham's still there, pegging away. So Moxham is now in a position to win this game after, gosh, 50-odd minutes of bowls. Moxham needing 2, Johnson needing 1. And again, it's a mark which will cause the bowl to travel more or less parallel with the ditch, the far side in front of the pub. Oh, got that totally wrong.
Yes, he's played underneath the line there, and that's fatal. Tommy's played a much tighter line, but important just to reach. I think he's okay with this. Maybe just come a little bit over the top.
He's on a length, dead length, but some distance. Again, Roy Moxon has got to be close. Got to be. Oh. Now, Terry Ashcroft must have a look at this.
You're in, Tommy.
If Tommy's in, Roy Moxon has again got to save.
Johnson,
Oh
one.
no, it was all over. Of course, it was Johnson who had the last bowl. Yes. So Tommy wins it. So tight, so very, very tight. Tommy Johnson gets it 21-19 in one of the hardest games I think he's had to play for a long time. Wipes the sweat away.
Yes,
Oh,
real
but now
terrific
really.
stuff by Tommy Johnston, the nearly man of the Bassmasters, twice beaten finalist. Will this be his year? He's through to the quarterfinals. Incidentally, so is young Paul Strutt. Well, we'll be back after the news with another second round game. Stormy Norman Fletcher against Lee Lawton. We'll be back soon.
The 2 largest spotted cats in Africa, both remarkable, both predators, but very different animals.
It took just 2 baboons to chase off 4 cheetahs. It takes just 1 leopard to frighten 40 baboons.
They've got to carry even more than their own weight up a tree. They've got to be pretty powerful to do that. All the cats hate each other. As far as they're concerned, they're all a threat to each other.
Gabby Roslin seeks out cheetahs and leopards in Predators, Wednesday at 7.
Secret of the band's success.
Clearasil Max.
Respect.
Clearasil Max will change your life completely.
Nothing you can buy gets rid of spots faster.
So strong you have to buy from a pharmacist.
Clearasil Max 10 opens the pore, absorbs the grease and dries the spot fast.
No, I use Clearasil Max. She won't even look at another bloke.
Face facts. Clearer skin, Clearasil Max. It couldn't be clearer.
Most people living alone want to keep their independence and enjoy the comforts of their own home. Many used to feel vulnerable, but through Merseyside's VNC Lifeline, they found peace of mind. When you've got a problem, press the red button on your personal transmitter and the control centre will know who you are, where you live and who to contact in an emergency. If you'd like to have more information about the VNC service, write to VNC Lifeline, PO Box 321, Manchester M60 3AA.
My friends look forward to their picnics on the beach. Yes, everybody loves the summertime.
I can't see how it has happened when we're having, you know, floods in January and then in August with no water.
It might as well rain until September.
The scandal of Britain's wasted water. World in Action, Monday, 8:30.
Check this out.
Saturday entertainment on Granada.
A reminder that we bring you the main stories from your area with Granada News at 1:05. Meanwhile, we now join the ITN studios in London for the Saturday lunchtime news.
Hello. Thousands of war veterans are gathering for Britain's VJ ceremonies marking the 50th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. The main events are in London. Veterans will join the royal family for an open-air service and march past at Buckingham Palace. The day is dedicated to commemoration and thanksgiving. Norman Rees reports.
It's the last parade for these veterans, a chance to remember the victory they won, the suffering they endured. Many will have their thoughts elsewhere.
With the colleagues I've left in various battlefields around the world.
Crowds are already gathering along the Mall, where just 2 hours from now the Queen will attend an open-air service of remembrance and commitment in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace. A Lancaster bomber will fly down the Mall, dropping 1 million poppies to commemorate those who gave their lives. Organisers say the tone of the ceremonies will be reflective and sombre. After all, they mark not just victory against Japan, but the end of the Second World War. It's in accord too with the wishes of prisoners of war who still feel bitter about their treatment at the hands of their Japanese captors. In an interview, Prince Philip says he understands their inability to forgive.
Reconciliation means a lot of other things, but it doesn't mean that each individual has simply got to forget and pretend that it never happened, or pretend that they were desperately affected by the experience.
Japanese tourists are among today's crowds. Many different faces, many different memories. Norman Rees, ITN at the Mall.
2 Scotland Yard detectives are flying to New Zealand to interview a man about the murder of Rachel Nickel. She was stabbed to death on Wimbledon Common 3 years ago. Now police say they've received new information. Adam Holloway reports.
According to today's reports, shortly after Rachel Nickel's body was found on Wimbledon Common, a man wearing a heavily blood-stained shirt knocked on the door of a neighbour's flat, close to the murder scene. As a major investigation got underway, the man said to have disappeared completely. Only now, 3 years after the murder, has the witness spoken to the police who've tracked the suspect down in New Zealand. ITN's reporter there has confirmed that 2 senior Scotland Yard detectives are expected to interview him tomorrow.
We do know that there is somebody who has been living here for over 2 years, probably under a false name. It's possible that the Auckland police are actually holding him, possibly on a charge of making false statements to the immigration authorities.
Following the disastrous attempt to prosecute Colin Stagg, who got married earlier this week, this development will come as a welcome boost for the police and for Rachel Nickel's family.
A £10,000 reward is being offered to help catch the killer of Vicky Thompson. Mrs Thompson died yesterday, a week after she was savagely beaten as she walked near her home at Ascot-under-Wychwood in Oxfordshire. Today, more than 50 police officers are questioning local people. The American envoy to Bosnia, Robert Frazier, has been injured in an accident en route to Sarajevo. He was with a delegation heading for peace talks with the Bosnian government. Their armoured car ran off the notorious Mount Igman road, detonated 2 landmines and caught fire. Altogether 8 people were hurt. A Bosnian government spokesman said the injured were being evacuated to the Croatian port of Split. As Britain's sweltering drought continues, another 7 million people are now banned from using hosepipes. From today, the Severn Trent Water Company is imposing restrictions on its customers. And the forecasters say there's no sign of rain. John Ray reports.
1 in 3 householders in England and Wales now face water restrictions. The latest in the Severn Trent region are being urged to snoop on neighbours who break the hosepipe ban.
I think that's pretty sneaky. I don't think that's the way to do it at all. I think all you've got to do is really rely on the goodwill of the people involved.
I think probably people might break the ban through ignorance rather than willful disobedience. It's best to solve it without ill feeling.
Meanwhile, Labour's released an internal government report conceding millions of gallons are being wasted through leaks, but saying ministers won't force water companies to act. The companies claim a leak-free system would cost £30 billion, a bill that customers would have to pay. But with forecasters predicting no rain until September, further restrictions to safeguard essential supplies aren't being ruled out.
We'll be back at 4:45. Goodbye.
Hello, good afternoon. Well, once again, it's another hot and dry weekend almost everywhere. But just for a change, there are 1 or 2 showers arranged. So straight away, let's focus on these for northern and western parts of Scotland and possibly Northern Ireland later on. Elsewhere, though, hot, dry, bright, sunny, some mist lurking around North Sea coasts, rolling onto the beaches from time to time, but dry virtually throughout, although we can't rule out the possibility of the odd isolated shower popping up in southern parts. So inland, a high of 32, now that's a baking 19 Fahrenheit, uncomfortable for some people, and then cooler on the coasts, more like 20 or 68 in Fahrenheit, with a cooling sea breeze. Here's the summary.
Sponsored by PowerGen, producing electricity, whatever the weather.
Now time to catch up with the local headlines with Granada News and Hazel Barrett.
Good afternoon to you. Army Green Goddesses are back on the streets of Merseyside for the second time in 3 days. It's the second of 4 planned strikes in the dispute over job losses and holidays. The strike on Thursday saw the Green Goddesses being used for the first time since 1977. Grass fires made up the majority of the call-outs, and so far today there have not been any serious incidents to deal with. But union leaders are warning the dispute could escalate if no deal is reached. Police are questioning the husband of a woman found dead at a home in Lancashire. The body of 44-year-old Christine Bebbington was found at the house in Hodder Grove in Darwin early on Thursday. Detectives say they are treating the death as suspicious and they're waiting for the results of a post-mortem. Police in Greater Manchester hunting for the killer of Louise Sellers are now looking for a man seen walking his dog near to the scene of her murder. Yesterday, police released this home video of Louise at a family gathering 3 weeks before the murder. She was last seen alive on Sunday night at a bus stop at Apley Bridge in Wigan. They want to question the man seen close by around 9 o'clock in the evening. Louise's body was found 5 miles away outside Billinge Hospital. A doctor has been remanded in custody by a court in North Wales, accused of conspiring to produce amphetamines. Henry Featherstone from Kent appeared before the court in Mould with student Matthew Armstrong from Northop near Mould. They were remanded in custody until Tuesday. Yesterday, 2 men from Clwyd and another from Wigan were also remanded in custody, charged with the same offence. The world's tallest roller coaster in Blackpool is running again after 2 days of technical problems. The big one at the Pleasure Beach was shut down after the emergency braking procedures came into operation, leaving many passengers stranded. And the same thing happened on Thursday evening. A spokesman for the Pleasure Beach says they're satisfied the problems have been resolved. For now, bye-bye.
Granada weather sponsored by First Choice Holidays for a brighter outlook.
Now a look at the regional weather forecast. A hot afternoon with sunny spells is expected, helping temperatures to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, 84 Fahrenheit. Though most parts will stay dry, there is a small risk, not more than 10%, of a shower over Pennine areas. Refreshing sea breezes likely on the coast. A dry night is in store with clear skies for many parts of the region, especially from Manchester and Merseyside north to Lancashire. Mist and low cloud will spread across Cheshire, and the higher parts of the Pennines may well turn misty. Another sticky night, lowest temperatures 17 degrees Celsius, 63 Fahrenheit.
Life had gone right downhill for working mum Lynn Dempster. All she did were work, what with cooking and cleaning and looking after kids. It's 10-year-old Carl and 3-year-old Lauren. Say hello, kids. Surely there were more to life than this for poor Lynn.
If it's blooms you want, Jeff's your man. We'll design a room just for you. We'll wine and dine you. Get a brand new look for you and the children. Make it a tea to remember. Lynn Dempster, this is your new life, thanks to Granada Tonight.
Well, next this Saturday lunchtime we return to Blackpool for our coverage of the bowls.
Tutus are,
Tutus are 4. Everybody knows this. Okay, that's the finish of it. Go away.
It's All Sports Celebrity Showdown. Here's Nomsky.
And our first question is, name the football brand famous for 3 stripes.
Adidas.
Correct! Which cat is famous for a soccer collection?
Puma.
Correct! Who's the heart and soul of football?
Umbro.
Okay, tell me who's got 120 sensational sports stores around the UK and stocks all the very best soccer products?
All Sports.
Not your average sports store.
So what's the secret of the band's success?
Clearasil Max.
Respect.
Clearasil Max will change your life completely.
Nothing you can buy gets rid of spots faster.
So strong you have to buy from a pharmacist.
Clearasil Max 10 opens the pore, absorbs the grease and dries the spot fast.
No, I use Clearasil Max. She won't even look at another bloke.
Face facts. Clearer skin, Clearasil Max. It couldn't be clearer.
Inside the crisp shell of Galaxy Minstrels, there's a milk chocolate centre so silky and smooth. With every one, you just melt away. Of course, it doesn't last forever, but you can always have another one. Melt away for a moment with Galaxy Minstrels.
We got the mountains, the rivers and trees, Mother Nature gives us the glory.
Hops, barley, yeast, water. That's it.
Hops, barley, yeast, water. That's it. Just those. Just lager, delicious, full-flavored, authentic Holston pills. Just as nature. You shut up! I'm talking over here. Let me put it this way. I don't drink lager with a splash of additives. I don't drink lager with a preservative top. I don't drink lager and a stabilizer shandy. Why? Because I treat my body like a temple. That's why I leave the boots on the outside. What are you looking at?
Please prepare for incoming visual stimulus.
People of Earth, attention.
A 3-day mission to both entertain and astound.
They weren't human.
Well, maybe.
Please update memory banks accordingly. Channel 4 Sci-Fi Weekend from next Saturday at 8:30. May the 4 be with you.
There are some hilarious, unforeseen moments in this week's You've Been Framed. So get in the swing for some more video classics in You've Been Framed, tonight at 5:25 on Granada.
Now on Granada, we continue our live coverage of our afternoon's Bassmasters Crown Green Bowling.
Thank you very much indeed, and welcome back to the Rakes Hall Hotel here in Blackpool. It really is a beautiful day, and you can see the match in progress at the moment is Norman Fletcher against Lee Lawton for a place in the quarterfinals. Norman in blue, of course, unmistakable. Also, the unmistakable bowls of Lee Lawton, those giant melons that he hurtles across the green with some power. Right, Norman's leading 15-10. 3 doubles on the trot. Roy Thompson, Brian Brett.
From 9 across, and in fact 10-9 down to 15-10 ahead Norman Fletcher. With a grip on this game, dominating proceedings. Roy, these two won't know much about each other's game, will they?
No, I doubt whether Lee Lawton has ever played Norman Fletcher before. He'll know quite a bit about him. But Norman will never have played him. And here he is now playing finger peg. This is his favourite corner. This is the corner that he played when he won the Talbot Championship in 1993.
And of course Lee, they both know the green under normal conditions, because Lee was runner-up in the Tournament Players Under-25s competition that was held here very recently, and then he played in the Talbot a week ago and qualified for the next stage. So they both know the green, but the conditions have changed because of the weather. The green not as immaculate as we have come to expect, but that's weather conditions taking a hand now. We just need to get a little bit of advice from Arthur Scowcroft, the referee, before Lee plays this bowl, because he may well be on. The yellow bowl is on. This is a good chance to get back. Lee Lawton. Usual yellow bowls all the way across, corner to corner, on a mark set by Norman Fletcher, and this looks a good bowl for 2. Good fight back. That's a good reply.
Lawton, 2.
So Lee Lawton now tactically will not want to go all that far, halving the green sensibly. Funny, isn't it, Roy, how they get to grips with the tactics of and they read each other's game. He's 23. He's been playing 12 years, but he's in the big time now, isn't he?
Oh yes, it's a mega occasion for Lee. It's just like playing at a final out there on your own, people watching, television cameras on you. It's a nerve-wracking experience.
With that lead. Well, that's going to be difficult to beat, because from our position up here in the commentary box, we're just above the footer, and we can tell that bowl, the yellow disc bowl, the yellow bowl of Lee Lawton's, really is in the approach. It's going to take some weight, I feel, to disturb this. He could have done with counting a set, and he could have done with being beyond the jack. If it's 2, it might just change Norman's mind.
Well, it's not a big target. I think he is too, but his last bowl's a yard wide, so Norman can only play to save.
Oh, he's got a nice road. He's very similar to Lee's first bowl, very similar. Has he done enough? I might have won it. It might just have won it. That's brilliant bowl by Norman Fletcher. Brilliant. Absolute perfection.
Yes, he played hoping to get the second bowl and chance getting first. Just a nudge on the shot bowl there, came off it and then toppled over and fell in for a perfect length count to the end. One to Norman Fletcher.
Some bowls you think are worth more than one, but that's the single he needed to get an advantage here of 16-12, and again jockeying for position, trying to work his way into the corner. Good lead.
Yes, once again Norman's gone round peg into the corner, finger peg, bias towards the ditch, into the pub corner. Once it gets past the jack, it runs away there.
He's unlucky there, Lee. They've got a bit of a connection, just if anything worse than the position, because the first ball has now dropped behind and in line with the jack. So Norman now looking to couple up. Wants to break away, just shake off this determined young man, and he's bowled another there. But it's a nice target for him.
Yes, he's striking.
He's a good striker, Roy, isn't he, this lad?
Yes, there he goes.
Some strength there. Got both off. Now, what's that? Anything stayed on? His own staying on, I think. Is it? Is it? No. All wood's off. Absolutely dead. The jack stays, all bowls off. Good gracious, that was quite a strike. He's a strong man.
Yes, with Norman's bowls being close together, Lee went at them, hoping to get them both off and leave himself in for game. He comes right the way down, into one of the bowls, gets onto the other one, looks as first of all as though his own bowl might just stay on the green, but it topples and topples. Everything goes off in the end. It voids the end.
All bowls off, all bets off. Now then, Norman, having set the first mark, sets this one. And he's got position, Roy. That's the important thing, isn't it?
Well, he's in the opposite corners to the ones he prefers, but he's playing finger peg, and he's quite wayward there, nearly 3 yards off.
I think he's had a couple of cracks at this corner without getting really within a yard or so. Lee's flying, needs a hit, well through. So Norman Fletcher. 50 now, Norman. Qualified by winning at Burnley St Andrews, one of his favourite greens, and he's made an adjustment and he's settled just about a yard short. Lee Lawton, 23-year-old from Failsworth, Manchester. Got a nudge past the best bowl of Norman Fletcher's to count. Thank you very much, and does it. Good bowl. Lee Lawton then with the jack is trailing 13-16.
Yes, that was a very important end for Lee Bryan, because the gap is now only 3 instead of 5. And here he is playing thumb peg to what normally is the fastest part of the green down to Liverpool Road. Playing round peg, bias towards the ditch. He's going to be a little bit short here.
It's an interesting mark, this. I recall you playing this against Roy Moxham in the Talbot semi-final last year, Roy.
Yes, I picked up 1 or 2 chalks on this bit. It's not easy.
I'm not sure that he'll know it all that way, all that well. I know they've practiced and practiced, but sometimes there are marks they pick out really thinking about their opponent rather than themselves. That got a bobble. Might have taken a little running out of the bowl. It's gone far enough. He's just going to swing now with the bias. Not happy with it. Fletcher then, 16-13, his advantage. Had the chance to watch 3 bowls go in and adjust his own, and look now for some pegging, which he gets certainly for 1.
Fletcher, 1.
You don't normally think of Fletcher relaxing his grip?
No, Norman's starting to get G'd up now. He starting to run after his balls. Shows that he's motivated. Sometimes when you watch Norman Fletcher play, as I've done over the last 15 years, you feel that he needs to get a little bit angry sometimes.
Yes.
Someone in the crowd needs to just G him up before he gets going.
Oh, Lee Lawton might G him up. Look at that. Oh, about an inch and a half to the side of the jack on the mark set by Norman Fletcher, who now has got to put a little running in his bowl and hope he can disturb the bowl. Waves it angrily on because it's going to do nothing. Good chance here. Certainly one to Lee Lawton. 2 cuts it back. Certainly one. Needs to run for 2. Here it is for 2.
Lawton, 2.
Norman Fletcher, 2 chalk advantage of Lee Lawton with the jack.
Lee's problem in the game, Brian, has been the fact that he's never settled on any one mark. He's tried Norman on about 5 different positions and he's not been able to lead well enough to settle on one mark. He needs to find a place to settle on. This looks like a good lead.
Yes, at this stage of the game, going for a win, it's time he settled. I think while he didn't know too much about Fletcher's game, not having played him before, he knew all about the reputation, and this maybe is why. Brilliant. What a good bowl. Oh, that's quality bowling. He's got to put some running in the bowl. I wonder if he can just take out the Fletcher wood. No. Bit of danger though, Roy. I suppose he's going to come a long way around.
Well, I think Lee felt that his first ball was near enough to prevent Norman from getting 2. So he felt the luxury of just playing through was on. Norman will try for another, but keep it on the bottom side to be sure of not knocking Lee's ball in.
Is it genuinely running? Look at this. Look at this. Trying. Yeah.
Fletcher,
settle for 1. So, at 18-15, Norman Fletcher away into the corner towards the public house. Struggling his first game to beat David Thornley, another of these bright young men from sort of north east side of Manchester. 21-18. Needs that to run on.
Before the game started, Brian, I just had a word with Norman. I said, how do you view the prospect of playing someone with the yellow bowls? And in his whimsical way, he said, well, it's only like playing someone with 2 Jaffas.
Well, he's not quite peeling it just yet, but it's 18-15 to Fletcher against Lee Lawton, who in his first game, of course, beat a former Bassmaster winner, Chris MacDonald, 21-19. Bit of space here, but Fletcher holding 2. Got to save. Ideally to count. Can it get through? I think not. In fact, all he's done is promote a shade Fletcher's second bowl, I would have thought. Norman's not sure who's on, at least he's giving nothing away. He's probably made his mind if he's having a chat. He's one of the keenest judges of a bowl around, isn't he, Roy?
Yes, he's got a very good eye, Norman. He'll
be
aware. He'll be aware of who's in.
Yeah.
And I think he fancies 2.
Yeah, I think so. Agree and take that one out. Lee will have a little look at this. What's the pegging? Why not? At this stage, could do with a breather at any rate. 18-15, the Fletcher advantage. This the 23rd end. He looks quite untroubled by it all, Roy.
Yes, at least he knows he's in. I think he's certainly got 1. I think they're just measuring for second.
Well, he's standing well back. He's not bothering to get involved at this stage. Oh, one. Norman Fletcher. It's worth a measure.
Fletcher, one.
Right, now the Fletcher, 19-15. Going for game. It's 2 for game. Against a young opponent who's never really let go. He started well, built an early lead, but from about the halfway stage at 11-10 to Fletcher. Fletcher, you feel, has slowly got to grips with the game, if not with the green.
Yes, Norman's gone the safer, straighter peg this time into the south stand corner. Gone thumb peg just underneath the crown. He's about 4 feet short with that ball, though.
He is, and this is a young man who's played county level for Greater Manchester Juniors, while Norman's had vast senior county experience with Lancashire and then North Lancashire. His present county, that one dropped short. Fletcher now needs to turn the screw across the crown and down, and now work. Yep, well, he's holding 2, they're beatable 2, but they could be a match-winning 2, unless Lee Lawton, he doesn't hang around, 23-year-old from Failsworth, Manchester, needs this to stay in the game, to stay in the Bassmasters. Doesn't need to go too far through. He might have just run out. Fletcher will have a look. He's just about to hear the news, and it may not be good news. Might be a measure for 2. I don't think we're going to argue about the first bowl. That's the one of Norman Fletcher's, which he will take out when Lee Lawton agrees for 1. Have a look for 2. He needs 2 for game. We're going to measure for game. Got a fancy on any of those, Roy?
I think from our position here, they're too far off to tell. I suspect it may only be 1.
Can't tell. So we have husband and wife team Terry and Mary Ashcroft doing the measuring, a measuring that could well decide the game. 24th end, Fletcher, 19-15, certainly with 1. That's the Fletcher bowl, now to the yellow bowl of Lee Lawton. Not sure that is on, and that means 2. The handshake, Norman Fletcher on a measure, gets it. He's had a good run for his money. He's still going strong. Norman Fletcher, the local man, 21. Lee Lawton, the youngster from Failsworth, 15.
Well, he might look laid back, but Norman means business this week, and you better believe it. So, him going through to the quarterfinals where he'll play Paul Strutt. We'll be back at 3:15 with possibly the match of the tournament so far. 2 former champions in the quarterfinals. Bob Crawshaw against John Bancroft. 3:15, make a date. We'll see you then.
And they're off.
Now the last of the second round action from the 1995 Bassmasters Crown Green Bowling.
The defending champion and favourite to win the Bassmasters 1995, Glyn Cookson, on course again, the man who beat Brian Duncan. Jack Kelly, very successful in pairs tournaments, has been flying solo pretty well so far. It's Cookson next for Jack. John Bancroft didn't enjoy a moment securing his place in the quarterfinals. More on that in just a moment. And what of another former champion, Bob Crawshaw? Well, he was staring down both barrels against Gary Smith late yesterday, but Gary ended up firing blanks, and Crawshaw was off the hook.
Crawshaw holding 1, looking for the 2 he needs. Might just have got them if he can stop now. Holds 2 to the grey of Robert Crawshaw. Former Bassmaster himself in 1985, had a massive lead, 11-2. and then turned around 2017 down, and now watches Gary Smith looking for the one he needs for a quite amazing victory, and he's not got it, you know. He's blown it. He's blown it at the last end. Unbelievable, having worked his way back. 2 to Crawshaw. The handshake, quite unbelievable game.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Rakes Hall Hotel here in Blackpool. It really is a splendid afternoon, absolutely roasting. And the tournament, it's hotting up as well, because the quarter-final lineup really is absolutely sensational. Nothing unusual in that, of course. Jack Kelly will play Glyn Cookson, Bob Crawshaw, John Bancroft. That's the main one this afternoon, and what a cracking match in prospect. 2 former champions there. Tommy Johnson, who's never won the Bass, but he's determined to do one day. From the bottom half of the draw, plays Dave McDermott, and Paul Strutt against Norman Fletcher. So live in a moment or two, Bob Crawshaw, who never really fulfilled his potential after winning the Bass in '85, but he's back in the big league now, and he's really looking the part. Kerry Morris and Gary Smith, his 2 victims so far. John Bancroft, a really effervescent character, thrives on the adrenaline generated by major tournaments. But what of that second round experience yesterday that he didn't like against Kath Garnett, even though he won it 21-19. Here's Alistair.
John Bancroft's route to the quarter-final has already been nerve-wracking. A tense win over Ken Strutt in round 1 was followed by yesterday's dramatic thriller against Kath Garnett.
I was sweating. I was definitely sweating. Kath played a very good game, and at the end I was very relieved to come through, very.
Wife Jill lived every agonising minute too, with practically the whole of the crowd urging Kath on to win. She was virtually a lone supporter.
Well, yeah, I must admit, when I came off the green, she was 28 when I went on. She looks about 44 when I came off.
She'll not be thanking you for games like that.
No. She was very nervous, I think, to say the least, very nervous.
John's been wearing his lucky hat this week, and so far it's playing its part. Not just protection against the sun, but there's a special incentive message under the peak.
Well, it actually says, never ever give up. So when I just get in trouble, I must admit, I just take it off and remind myself, and not just that, but it just helps me refocus a little bit and make me take my time and sort of get my act together a little bit and sort myself out again.
4 years on from his last Bass triumph, John is now a father of 2, young son Ryan named after Giggs, while new addition Zoe had another United name waiting for her.
We were undecided. We didn't know what we were having, a boy or a girl. We said we didn't want to know, and Jill had 1 or 2 names in the hat, and I thought, well, we've got the left winger, so I thought, well, if another boy, we can have the right winger, so it might have been Andre. So as it happened, it was a little girl, so I think Jill was quite relieved, actually.
Maybe the alternative was to actually become an Evertonian, Roy, but I know as a Manchester United fan you wouldn't go along with that. Right, maybe perhaps an omen here, because on his way to winning the Bass in '85, Bob Crawshaw actually beat John Bancroft in the semi-final.
Yes, and certainly Robert's the man in form. He's been in superb form this year, won 5 championships already. He's looking good.
But the bookies can't actually split them?
No, they're not sure. They're 4-1 each of the 2 for the championship, and if you want to back either of them, you have to lay them 5-4.
Right, now I think it's no secret in the bowls world anyway that they're not the greatest of pals.
No, they play for different clubs in the Manchester area, and from time to time they meet up. Suffice it to say, I don't think they'll be going on holiday to Tenerife together.
Now, I'd say the bookies can't split them, can you?
The foreman is, as I've said, Bob Crawshaw.
They're chatting. Just to interrupt you there for a moment. You see them chatting merrily there.
Yeah, I just fancy Bob.
You do?
I do, yes.
Okay, well, we'll see. Just before we go to the match, we have a spectator up here on the in the gallery, and if we could just move across.
Yeah, it's not just an ordinary spectator, of course, one of the VIPs. Thank you.
Okay, Frank. We'll be talking to Frank a little later on, but it's down to the serious business of bowls right now. Commentators are Brian Brett and Hugh Johns, and the match is about to start.
Right. Tony Ashcroft, the referee, throws the coin. Bob Crawshaw has won the toss, so he will set the first mark. And big audience here at the Rakes Hall Hotel, as a game which they've all been eagerly anticipating gets underway. Bob, nice line, but maybe a couple of feet too long. John Bancroft. Road looks good. A little bit of pegging now. Yep, just turned left at the right moment. Banjo Bancroft is on the very first mark set in this quarterfinal. Left it short.
Bancroft, 1.
Roy Armson was thinking that Robert Crawshaw might win this one. Brian Brett, what's your own feeling?
I find it a bit like the book issue. Difficult to split them 4-5. I think it's who's going to dominate the green, who's going to get a grip of the whole scene. And I have a feeling it could be John Bancroft, but very close.
John's going a little bit too strong up there. It is a heavy corner of the green. You do have to push him in there. Crawshaw needed to hit something then.
Just go.
Oh, we've got the wrong road entirely, John. Well, that won't trouble the measurers if we ever get into that situation on this end. Well, Crawshaw galloping after this one. Let's see where it finishes. It's looking good.
Crawshaw, 1.
One each apiece. Wondering which mark Robert Crawshaw will try to develop. He was the runner-up in the Talbot on this green to Norman Fletcher a couple of years ago. It's a reasonable lead. It's got a lot of running to do. And it was the wrong road anyway. Come on down now. Come on down. Yes. Bob wants to disturb those two if he possibly can. A little bit more running. Fraction more. Oh, adjacent. Save one.
Crawshaw, 1.
And we'd like to apologise to our viewers for the loss of the Bassmasters Crown Green Bowling programme. We'll retrieve this programme as soon as possible.
Going across the
and
green,
I'm delighted to say that we can now bring you the programme.
And cutting away. Unlucky. Lucky.
Well, it's unlucky, but it's on for the firing shot, isn't it? The strike. Depending.
Well, it depends where
Yes.
Crawshaw dropped that. Well, I'm glad you've got the sound back again. I gather You just had pictures for a short while, but I'm sure you followed the game with interest. Wouldn't have disturbed you. John with some extra weight on this ball, wanting a disturbance job. Miss! And what's he wound up with?
It's against him, I think.
I think he's on.
Do you?
Yes.
Give him
Bancroft,
yes, the one.
Yes. Yes, that first bowl of John Bancroft's wound up the winner.
Nice, just clip on it, wasn't it?
It was.
Half clip.
Tell you what, if he intended that, that was an absolutely superb bowl.
I think he might just have intended to disturb the bowls. Again, you see the changes here already. It's going to be determined, John says, in the corners.
All about weight here. That's pulled up nicely. That's drifted away underneath and isn't arriving anyway. But all he can say about that is that it's in the road.
Might be almost on a different street.
Robert Crawshaw phlegmatically looking at the situation. He's got to skirt round that short bowl, which will take a little bit of weight. It needs to take it off to drop in on the jack. Yeah.
Short bowl eventually decided that.
Bancroft, one.
The sort of thing one sees quite a lot, of course, in the flat green game, tactically dropping bowl short, and interestingly enough, Robert Crawshaw, a very experienced flat bowler, was runner-up in the All-England triples at Brighton. When was that? There was 87. He was skipped by Noel Burrows. He played second, and Gordon Niven was the lead bowler in that triples, which was a tremendous triumph, I think, for Crown bowls to reach that stage of a flat bowls tournament.
Well, both of them played in the old Super Bowl, of course, didn't they?
Yes.
Going back a little while.
Yes.
Robert had some success.
Did indeed.
He rattled a few cages, I think.
He did. He knocked out David Bryant and the Scotsman Jim Muir at one point. When Willie Wood stopped him in the quarterfinals, I remember. What a fine tournament that was.
It wasn't it, indeed. 2 against John. 2 against Robert, rather, for John.
Yes. No.
Has he saved?
Don't think so.
Bancroft, one.
Oh, yes, he did. Just the one for John Bancroft. Now, it looks very much as though John has already tactically decided that this diagonal from... Oh, that's heavy. Is that going to stay on?
Green. It can't stop.
Cannot stop. Got to go. Oh, it was a big error by John Bancroft.
I think the green's a bit quicker, Hugh, but having said that, they have practiced it before they went out.
Yes. And for those of you who are not totally au fait with the rules of Crown bowls, when the block goes off like that, the opponent has the opportunity of setting the mark wherever he likes, but the bowler who won the last end, in this case, of course, it's John Bancroft, delivers the first bowl to it. Always more difficult then for the bowler to bowl to a block that he didn't set. because he's not absolutely certain the line that the block took.
Look at that style there of John, and his right knee just brushes the turf. He changed his style a little bit, Hugh, and his wife noticed that she was no longer washing the grass stains off his right knee, the trousers of his right knee, and said, "Do you realise you've changed your style?" He was having a bad trip, and he didn't. So now he's just brushing that right knee on the ground when he delivers. The stains are back, there's more laundry, there's more wins.
Well, that looks to have gone out. Looks like another... Oh, he did in fact score on that one. So Crawshaw, 1 down. Finger peg, the bias, and a little slope of the green. Running the ball down now, but the weight not quite enough. So John knows that he's got to put enough on to get past that short ball, but he didn't find the road.
I'll tell you what, there's tension all around here, isn't there? There's not much noise from the crowd. They're all concentrating, as Robert Crawshaw is, as this one goes through. Applauded now.
Oh yes, they enjoyed that. And so did Robert Crawshaw. Much shorter mark than Banjo has been setting. Hey, unlucky.
Crawshaw, 1.
4 each apiece after 8 ends of bowls. And at the moment, down at the green side is Gary Smith, who gave Robert Crawshaw almost the fright of his life in the second round. He's talking to Alistair Mann.
Well, I suppose in one way you'd be stood here thinking it could well have been me.
Yes, I thought when I made the comeback and I got in front, I thought that was going to be the case, but you know, today's another day and it's Robert that's there.
Robert has been playing well in the first 2 matches. I think you think he might be the man to watch.
Yeah, I think he's played well. He's the one that appears to have played well all the way through on what we've seen. But again, you know, John's a good player and be close between them. Go right to wire.
Clearly he's a man from your game who, if it does go to the wire, has the nerve for it.
Yeah, but I think they both have. They've both been there before. They both got a lot of experience, and I'm sure the best player will win.
Hugh Johns, that's the view from Gary Smith.
Yes, he was dead right. He could have been here.
Now that's just favourite for me, John.
Finally going down 21-20 when he had the winning of it with his last bowl on the very last end of the game against Robert Crawshaw. But he's right when he talks about these two chaps with the experience. They've certainly had experience in the Masters, the Bass Masters. John Bancroft winning it twice. In '86, taking out Joe Bradbury in the final. Having got there against Robert Hitchin, Ken Strutt and Vernon Lee, the little dancing master from Blackpool here. And then again in '91, he took out Vernon Seddon, Mike Cox, Ron Stanfrith, and finally, in the final itself, Ken Strutt. Robert Crawshaw came into the tournament for the first time. He's been here, this is his 5th appearance. The very first time he came in, he knocked out Noel Burrows, Jackie Grimes, John Bancroft in the semi-final, and then beat the great man Brian Duncan in the final. Contact. Well, that was the other way of getting it, as they say.
Hey, sometimes it's your day, isn't it?
Well, he came all the way up the green and had a really good look at it, so he must have had this in his mind, you know.
Oh, I'm
Brian.
sure he did. He'll tell us he did. He tried to take the bowl out. But that little clip, good gracious me.
You see the kick with his right leg as that ball came down then, too.
I saw the hand go up as well. That's one to me, pal. There is a sort of added element of rivalry in this game. They were both pairs partners at one stage, but now they're keen opponents.
I was talking to Robert before the match, and he says he thinks that he's had the edge over Banjo Bancroft in their meetings over the years, which will add a little extra steel to Banjo's play, I'm quite sure.
I think they're both big occasion bowlers, Hugh, and this isn't going to worry them, you know. It might just gee them up a bit, but they've got great nerves, both of these two. Very experienced county players.
Robert only needing a bowl just to trickle past these two short ones, and it didn't. Oh dear, dear. That was a bad two to give away. A 7-4, John Bancroft in front. John from Hyde in Cheshire, and Robert also from Cheshire, from Sale. That's dead length. Crawshaw. Thumb peg. Looks heavy. Gone out. This a distance of some 48, 50 yards. And he's got the weight right again. So Robert has a problem on his hands here. Got to reach, surely. Cut it down if he can't win it. No, he's not going to arrive.
Bancroft, 2.
Oh, Banjo with those two takes 9-4 lead. And that is a very happy situation for John. And happy too for his wife Gillian at the back there, peering through spectators to see what her husband's doing out on the green. Remember Gillian taking her shoes off and dancing out of the green with delight at Ellesmere Port when John won his 2 Bassmaster titles. And Banjo is putting a fair amount of pressure on Robert Crawshaw. Brian?
He is. He likes these corners, doesn't he? I saw him win the Isle of Man Festival playing the corners, and honestly, Hugh, he was 8 points better than anybody. He just planted them all the time around the jack, and nobody could match him. He'd already qualified by then for the Bass, so you could have excused him if he'd taken it easy, but just sharpened his game up. Tremendous.
Well, Crawshaw is illustrating the crown there is on this green here at the Rakes Hotel. And that shot indicated the blue bowl was going to be much closer than that, but it is not. 1 certainly. Now, is it 2? Looks like 2 from here.
Peg, 2.
Pegs for 2.
Pegs for 2.
Certainly 1.
I think Crawshaw indicated that more to have a little
breather,
and try and rethink
down,
the situation.
Reassess, yeah.
Marching on is Mary Ashcroft and David Wishick. They're going to do the
measuring, and Terry 1 against 1.
That one, but anyone.
Terry Ashcroft almost qualified for the Bass Few. He was runner-up in the Bass Challenge. Was the referee there?
Oh yes, yes.
Lost in the final to Lee Lawton. Oh, he's a good player as well. Space.
Bancroft, well.
Just one for John Bancroft. I say just one, but it stretches John Bancroft's lead to 6 chalks. 12 ends of bowls and rattling along at a fair old pace. And once again, John goes deep out into the corner in front of the pub. And that's a tricky one. You've got to be strong to reach it. And if you're too heavy, you go off behind into the ditch. Dead on a length, I think, John, with that. Go on, cut inside, Robert. Well, 6 of one, half dozen of the other as far as those two are concerned, I think.
Don't think John will wait to find out.
No, he feels certain he can get one closer anyway.
Well, they pick up there, but...
he hasn't.
Nobody's telling anybody who's on there John's gone wonk about. He doesn't want to know this.
Only one.
Only one. But that only one is obviously Bancroft.
So Robert bowling to save. And is going to win it with that bowl. Yes, sir.
Crawshaw, well.
A lot of applause for Robert Crawshaw as he stops that gallop of 6 chalks by John Bancroft and sets a mark across the green, and watching with great interest as he always does. Greenside at the moment, Roy Armson with Elton Wellesby.
Well, here we are at greenside, Roy and myself, and not so long ago, Roy, you were tipping Robert Crawshaw. I mean, in fairness, it was always difficult to split, but Banjo's got his act together.
Yes, he's really playing well, John, you know, and you can, sitting here, you can actually feel the tension in the game. Both have got very sweaty hands, it's very hot and humid out there, but you know, they're really trying to get into it. But Robert's gone to his shorter lengths here, you know, he's playing about 27 yards up to the crown, but really, he's not quite got it right.
He's not far away there. He's counting there, Roy,
yes,
counting there.
About 2'6" off there. John's got to pass those short bowls now to try and count the end. I think he's short.
Interesting when we were watching that measure, which wasn't too far away from us. He's just nicked it. Well, not the greatest bowl, but he'll think it is.
Just watching there, you know, I think the green has speeded up today. It's been very, very hot here, and there's been a slight breeze from the east. I think it's about 2 yards quicker than yesterday. And here's John now going finger peg down into the pub corner. I think he'll try and play a bit long, try and get a good lead here.
I was just about to make the point before, Roy, that when that measure was being taken a couple of ends ago, the distance between the two bowlers, absolutely no camaraderie whatsoever.
No, it's a real struggle, isn't it? They won't be concerned with anything else but just playing the game, and they'll feel the tension themselves. Before they went on the green, they would both be nervous. Yes, it's just going out. It's definitely quicker, the green, than it was yesterday.
Well, here's John. I mean, he'll be just looking to lick that bowl from Bob Crawshaw, which is lying shot at the moment.
There he is, right up to the jack. That's a good bowl. Robert's going to have to play to sit on that bowl now. There he is, thumb peg, going down. Over the crown, into the running part of the green now. It's just on the wrong side, I think.
Well, the match the bookies couldn't split. The one that, well, in fairness to Roy, although he went for Crawshaw, even he couldn't really split them. But at the moment, there is quite a split, isn't there, Hugh? 13-5, Bancroft very much in the driving seat here.
Did right, Elton. There's 8 chalks in it, as you said. And John Banjo Bancroft is strumming away quite happily down there. He's on the road again. Just past the block.
Big yard pass.
Robert Crawshaw with these lignum vitae bowls that he has so lovingly created himself. All the running taken out of that one as it hit an enormous bump after no more than 10 yards of its travel. And it got a wallop like that, there's no running left in it. Good road, good weight. Robert Crawshaw definitely not going to be short with that.
Well, he's been upset, hasn't he, by what happened on the previous bowl as a mile through.
He was one who was telling me how unhappy he was with the state of the green. A green that has a reputation of running as smooth as a billiard table, but which has been spoilt by the combination of the drought, hot sun, and the fact, curious sort of Irish fact, that the heavy watering that it's had lovingly from Jack Kirby, the greenkeeper, has actually produced an awful lot of bumps on the green.
Yes, it seems possibly the bowlers are telling me when they walk across the crown you can in parts feel it move, you know, feel the soil disturbed. And he did shave it this morning. He took a top layer off it. Bancroft's having no problems.
Well, he's there or thereabouts.
He's a sports turf consultant, so maybe he can read these things better than most of us. You can see the problem areas.
That's sailing right off.
He's not at all happy, Robert. He is a touch player, isn't he, Hugh? He likes to be absolutely precise. He thinks if I put the ball down right, it should get there.
Yep. And he spends his life with bowls, making bowls, turning bowls, renovating bowls, actually taking blocks of wood, the lignum vitae that they import from places like Mexico and Brazil, great chunk of wood, and lovingly turning it and caressing it and producing from it a pair of beautifully matched bowls. And the pair he's playing with now he made himself, of course. And they have been, as Roy was saying earlier, very, very successful for him. And he's won 5 tournaments already this year with them.
Yes, he has. And he's won them all over the place too. Halifax, Woodley, Levenshulme, Rochdale. He's having a big season, is Robert. But John's doing it on this same mark, isn't it? Right, I mean, these are the longest marks we've seen in the tournament. Corner's a corner, maybe a couple of yards in each edge.
And what is interesting is that he's got no fears about this. When he was playing Kath Garnett, I'm sure that the thought of being beaten by a lady. He was playing Kath, who's a very good bowler, let's be fair about that, a cracking bowler.
Yes.
But he was playing her, he was playing the crowd, he was playing against himself half the time.
He was glad to get out of that.
Yep.
Robert, all of a sudden now gets the encouragement of a very good delivery. But this will be a sickener if it can beat it.
Got chances, got chances.
Oh,
what about that? Now that's the sort of thing that destroys your confidence, doesn't it? Poor Robert Crawshaw finally found on this long mark a good bowl, and then to see it taken away like that. Still chances again.
Not so sure about this one.
Great chances, great chances. Yes. Good recovery.
What do we think?
Well done.
What do we think? Referee thinks blue. Referee thinks so.
I think he's on.
He put the blue away. He had the blue lollipop in his hand. He stuck it in his pocket.
Very close, that one.
They may call for a measure. I thought he had blue ready.
Pegs, please.
Yes, it is a peg's
This
job.
is a close one.
Well, Robert Crawshaw can't tell from his face whether he thinks he's there or not. It's the right-hand bowl there that's about to be hit. Well, I think that blue is on.
I have to stick my neck out, so I'll go for the blue. But it's close.
Well, if we eavesdrop then, I think the referee said if I stick my neck out, I'd go for the blue. Let's stick these measures out.
Yeah, blue ball. Crawshaw, 1.
Yep. 1 it is to Bob Crawshaw. Now, let's see if he can fight back. 6-17 he is. It's back onto the sort of length of mark that he enjoys, just up over the crown. Finger peg mark. That's around about where the crown is, where that ball was then. Now it's down to the other side. And Banjo has taken just enough running out of the ball to count at this moment. Bob will feel happy, though, that he can get in on this. Oh, the gap, and he flew through it. Would you believe it? Well, John Bancroft is definitely singing. Well, one of John Bancroft's greatest friends down at the ringside, Chris MacDonald, he's now talking to Alistair Mann.
Chris, to say the least, John Bancroft is in the mood today, isn't he?
Yeah, he's playing very, very well. He's getting his balls away a lot better than Robert. He seems to be having a bit of trouble in the corners, and John's played very, very well, led well, and it looks a bit ominous for Robert now.
Clearly it was a problem that Robert had in the match that he just about got away with against Gary Smith.
Yeah, he had a little bit of trouble getting him away in the corners and finding a length, and managed just to get out yesterday. I don't know really, it's the bumps, etc. If you've got the jack and you go in a distance, it just makes it that little bit easier going first.
OK, well, just at the moment, he's got plenty to do, Robert Crawshaw, with a ball in his hand.
He has indeed, Alistair, and I don't think, looking down there, that John has the 2 that he wants. In fact, he hasn't got any out of this end. Robert has managed to make sure that he continues in this tournament. That single gives him 7 against John Bancroft's 19. And Robert again going for a much shorter mark. This portion about a couple of yards faster than the other area of the green, so they'll treat it with some caution. But Bob Crawshaw's caution has left him well short of the target. Bob, has he gone too high? I think he has. See what sort of a correction Bob Crawshaw makes. But a couple of feet short, but counting. Won't peg in.
Crawshaw, 1.
Well, is this going to be one of the great fighting comebacks of all time? Crawshaw saw that happen to him in his game with Gareth Smith. And here, with just over half an hour gone, he's got a lot of ground to make up. Got to keep that block in his hand and prevent John Bancroft getting in. Oh, that bumped away out of John's hand. But in fact worked in his favour. It took some running off the bowl and he wound up with a beauty. Bancroft will feel that he could be in with a shout of winning it here. Holding one. And the crowd is shaking two. The crowd is shouting two. And I wonder. No, I don't think so. John might ask for the pegs here. He's definitely got one.
Bancroft, one!
All but 9. And not only is John Bancroft in front, but I think John Bancroft has the loudest support of the two camps here this afternoon. John just about on a length. Robert literally now bowling to stay alive. Not close enough anyway. Banjo, is this the one? Is this the one that's going to settle it? It's going to be close, I tell you. That could be the one that puts Robert Crawshaw out of the tournament. But Bob Crawshaw's got one bowl left. It's gone. It's gone, and so has Bob Crawshaw. That a very, very comprehensive victory for John Bancroft. He really took Robert Crawshaw apart. Basically from 5-4 onwards, he absolutely dominated the game. And Robert Crawshaw had no answer to it at all. John Bancroft online, happy, didn't have to take his hat off at all. He never gave up. He never had to give up. He was in the driving seat, and he's in the semi-final. Now, is he going to go all the way through to the final? Maybe we'll find out in just a moment, because he's down on the green now, talking to Elton Wellesby.
Well, thanks very much indeed, Hugh. And first of all, many congratulations to you, John. A fantastic performance, it has to be said.
Yeah, it's definitely the best I've played so far, without a shadow of a doubt. And when somebody gets going, whoever it is, and starts playing one or two leads, as I started to do, it forces you to play up, and then you tend to lose your length, and that's what happened to Bob, really, in fairness. Yeah, would that fair assessment, Bob?
I would say so, yes. I started off quite well, and John played through and just got the right rub, and I never got in a rhythm at all. When he got the jack, I just couldn't find a length to save my life.
I mean, the bookies couldn't split you at all. Roy actually tipped you, I have to tell you, Bob, but he really couldn't split the pair of you today. And yet, I suppose it's not so much a surprise that you won, or a surprise had you won, but the margin of the defeat, that must be a little bit hard to take.
Yes, well, it's very disappointing to probably put one of my worst performances of the season up on TV. But that's the way it goes, that's bowls.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, Roy made that point too, that way below your current form.
I would say so, yes, but all credit to John. He led well, and I couldn't really do much about it.
Well done, well spoken. Thanks for talking us in defeat. It's never easy, is it?
No.
But as far as you're concerned, revenge over Bob, actually, because, of course, in 1985, if you remember that far, he beat in the semi-finals and went on to win.
Yes, and we're both young men with hair.
With hair, yeah.
Yes, so it's been a long time in coming, that, hasn't it? 10 years. So yeah, it's always pleasing to beat any player in this competition, whoever, whether they're known or not known, because if they've qualified for the Bassmasters, they're a good player. So you've got to be pleased with any win.
I think it's in any sport, if you play better and better round by round, that's always a good sign, isn't it?
Well, yeah, gradual improvements. It's always nice to, sometimes if you play really well early in the competition, you tend to think to yourself, well, I can't play like that again, and you tend to sort of set yourself stands that you can't keep and put yourself up there, and put yourself under a bit of pressure, really. So it's nice, yeah, to improve round by round, yeah.
OK, thanks very much. Have you heard the latest from Old Trafford, by the way?
There must be 3-0 up by now.
3-0 down, actually. That'll put him off for a bit, won't it? Anyway, we're popping over here now because our special guest this afternoon from the world of show business, one of the all-time greats, and a great bowls fan as well, Frank.
Yes, indeed. What a wonderful afternoon, and thank you, Granada, for letting us have the privilege of watching what was a great match there. Bit of a whitewash in one way or another, but nevertheless, somebody has to win it. It was great. Plus your commentary now, a lot of people have rang me up and said that Elton Wellesby was obviously one of the great commentators of his day, and in future things will look better for you, I would hope. It's Frank Carson, 4 News at 10, sober.
Well, that's the serious part of our conversation over with. At least I think that was the serious part of our conversation over with. We're going to take a very short break now. We'll be back with Frank, and we're going to have a bit of fun, aren't we?
Yes, we're going to talk about a wedding which took place this afternoon in Blackpool, a lady of 87 years old.
Right, well, I'll be fascinated to hear it,
yes,
Frank, and so will you at home. So join us again very shortly, won't you?
You pay £1 for a lottery instant, but you get 7 free instant scratch cards with a £50,000 first prize and thousands of other cash prizes every week with the Mail on Sunday.
With the power of nature. Naturel Plus feels that much fresher. Naturel Plus. Feel fresh all day.
In the early 1950s, a young Czech army captain developed a training method that would change running forever. Stamina was everything. But he wasn't just a committed athlete. When his country was invaded, he made a personal stand. This dedication to ideals, combined with his training method, won him 3 Olympic gold medals in 1 week. A record which even today remains unbroken.
My name is Emir Zatopek.
Rent now the action-packed comedy D2, The Mighty Ducks, and the mind-blowing adventure Stargate. So get it on from Global Video.
Orange know how frustrating it is to be out of touch. So if your Orange phone breaks down, it'll be replaced wherever you are within 24 hours, free of charge. The future's bright. The future's Orange. Call 0800 286 286.
Back in 1835, NPI started out helping a few people put something by for the future. Our reputation spread. Now, 160 years on, with assets of over £7 billion, pensions are still our speciality. Because at NPI, we think the fundamental things apply. As time goes by, you'll be glad you chose NPI.
Welcome back to the 1995 Bassmasters from myself and Frank Carson. There will be more bowls later on. Glyn Cookson, the reigning champion, of course, he's still got to find a way into the semi-finals. We'll see if he does a little later on. But right now, it's over to Frank Carson. Now, she was 87.
I was actually here yesterday. 87-year-old lady who was celebrating her birthday and got married as well to an 86-year-old gentleman. His name is Peter Curtin, and she was Annette Macaulay. So her married name, believe it or not, is Annette Curtin. And there were so many candles on the birthday cake, 11 people were overcome with the heat.
There are some quite funny combinations, aren't there? People
Yes,
get married.
Yes, there was one there, Jimmy Seed, who married a girl called Anna McCluskey, and her married name is Anna Seed. So these names keep cropping up. Like, I mean, I'm sure the people out there, the list is endless. But as I say, I'm here in Blackpool for the summer, so if you'd like to come and see the show on the South Shore, by all means. Now, you lived here in Blackpool for 22 years, and I loved the place, you know. And then I moved down to London, went to St John's Wood, where a very toughy-nosed crowd, they carried the fish and chips home in a briefcase. Then I sold the house, and I couldn't believe the price I got. I sold at the top of the market, and when I saw the cheque, I thought, I'll buy Wales. And then I thought, to hell, I don't want change back.
Someone said to me the other day about you, when I mentioned that you were popping down to watch the bowls and have a chat with us, that you probably got the most famous catchphrases in the world of comedy.
Yes, well, that's going back 45 years. The first one I actually was on Ulster Television was Hello There. It was a television series we'd done, and our friend Gloria Honeyford was the PA girl on it. That's 40 years ago anyway, at least. And it was Hello There and come on in. That was that one. And then there was another one, an ad I'd done for TSB, and that was, would you take a check?
But what about the cracker?
It's a cracker.
Yeah, it's a cracker.
Oh, well, I'll tell you the story of, I wish I had the time to tell you, but the cracker came actually, way before when I'd done an ad, and one of the fellows who wrote the ad for me in Belfast, I said, well, at the end of it, I'll just say, it was done for Jacobs, I said, oh, that's a cracker. I said, but it won't mean anything, will it? I said, well, no, you never can tell. People pick up things, and from then on...
Is your principle of comedy, though, that it is the way you tell them?
I absolutely, that came, believe it or not, from a lot of people out there. Remember Nelson and Cole. There was a man there called Sidney Silverman, the man who brought in the abolition of capital punishment. Believe it or not, I'm sure he turned his grave. We saw some of the crimes which are going up against today. And there was a fella renowned for not laughing in the audience at comedians. And I came out with a gag, I can't even remember the gag, but he took a fit of laughing. And the whole place erupted into applause. And I thought somebody would come on behind me. And he said, oh, you made him laugh, Frank, you made him laugh. I said, why did you laugh? He said, it's the way you told it. So in the second part of the show, I came out again doing that, and I told a gag, and I remember the gag, which I'm telling here in Blackpool.
Briefly, you got 45 seconds to tell
the gag.
Okay, but
the German was walking along the beach, and the beach was empty. There was a pig there, and they kicked the sand in the pig's face. And he said, where are all the people? And the pig said... He laughed at that, so from then on, I became a star.
And you followed it up by saying...
I'm getting even bigger now. by being with you, Elton, today. There are people out there that, guess who Frank Carson with today? Elton Wells. Oh, I don't believe it.
Well, I tell you what, you've been recognised by everybody. You're a wonderful, warm person, and you signed so many autographs and so many photographs.
Yeah, well,
you seem to love the adoration that people have for you.
Why not? A lovely way to go through life. People saying, how are you, Frank? I do the same gags with everybody. You know, a man will say to me, Frank, my wife and I are great fans. And I say, well, what's your wife? I said, I'd love to kiss her. He'll say, well, this is the wife. And I say, yeah, well, I'm busy at the moment. Maybe somebody. So it always gets a laugh.
Frank, thanks very much. We've got more bowls to see a little later on. We're going to take a break right now. Back with Glyn Cookson, the defending champion. A big, big thanks to Frank Carson. Thanks, Frank.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
You'd be surprised how many everyday things like heat, dust and traffic fumes can make your hair look dull and unhealthy.
Having researched the problem, I've found a perfect solution. Pantene Pro V.
Its provitamin B5 nourishes the roots and penetrates to the very tips, leaving a beautiful shine that simply glows with health.
Pantene Pro V. Daily treatment for healthy-looking hair.
There's never been a card quite like the Shell Smart Card.
It lets you pick up gifts from Shell stations and save for bigger items from our catalogue, like tapes and CDs. You can also donate money to charities, you can get UCI cinema tickets, or even collect air miles. Get smart. To get the card, phone free on 0800 006 008.
We got the mountains, the rivers and trees, Mother Nature gives us the glory.
Hops, barley, yeast, water. That's it. Hops, barley, yeast, water. That's it. Just those. Just lager, delicious, full-flavored, authentic Holston pills. Just as nature. You shut up! I'm talking over here. Let me put it this way. I don't drink lager with a splash of additives. I don't drink lager with a preservative top. I don't drink lager in a stabilizer shandy. Why? Because I treat my body like a temple. That's why I leave the boots on the outside. What are you looking at?
At the Riverhead United, there's a change from your printed programme. At number 7, David Platt.
You better be good with a name like that.
David! Nice one, Dave. On, David!
David Platt? He must have cost you a few bob. Interesting story. Last Wednesday week it was. Driving home late, saw these lads broken down. They'd been in town at the Grand for the Player of the Year awards.
What have you got?
Says Platty. Big Mac, large fries, fillet fish for the wife, says I.
I'll give you a tenner for it.
Says David. No chance, says I.
100?
Says David.
Got to be something.
You didn't get Platty for a Big Mac.
And a fillet of fish?
Of course not. Just a Big Mac. Bernice would have killed me.
Buy your glasses from Vision Express and they'll be ready in about an hour. Even bifocals and varifocals. And you'll get a pair of prescription sunglasses from a selected range, worth at least £89, and absolutely free. Free prescription sunglasses with full UV protection.
Welcome back. Frank Carson still holding court over there, but we're concentrating on the bowls again, and the reigning Bassmasters champion, Glyn Cookson, winner here, of course, 12 months ago. Well, the quarterfinals are underway, so let's just have a reminder of the lineup. Jack Kelly against Cookson. That's the game we're going to see right now. Bob Crawshaw, well, annihilated really by John Bancroft on the day. Bancroft, irresistible. And from the bottom half of the draw, those two quarterfinals will be played tomorrow on finals day. Tommy Johnstone and Dave McDermott, and young Paul Strutt, son of Ken, against Norman Fletcher, who knows this green so well. Right, so it's Glyn Cookson we're concentrating on now, and he beat Brian Duncan to reach this stage, and would you believe it, it caused him a bit of a problem. Alistair explains.
There was one problem for Glyn Cookson and his family that came as a result of his excellent victory over tournament favourite Brian Duncan yesterday. That problem simply, they had nowhere to stay. You see, so sure was Cookie that he may have met his match in Duncan, he'd actually checked out of his hotel in the morning and had to spend last evening looking for new accommodation.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. We checked out this morning, and now we're desperate.
Well, we did exactly the same last year. We booked in from Wednesday to Friday, booked out and just asked if there was a spare room, and we got another night in at the same hotel.
Duncan was odds-on to beat Cookie yesterday, and perhaps being underdog helped relax the defending champion as Glyn triumphed 21-13. Indeed, so relaxed was he that he even managed to think of Sunday's dilemma, whether he'd like to be at the Rakes Hall in the final of the Bassmasters or watching his beloved Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Would have been at Molyneux Sunday. I mean, I've still got to get as far as Sunday, but if I get beat, I've got that consolation. I can still go down the motorway to Wolverhampton. Can't lose.
The immediate job in hand, though, was to find somewhere to stay for the night to prepare for today's quarter-final. Mind you, he wasn't that concerned, because there was always one alternative.
Don't worry about it. We've got a car.
Well, it's been a good week for him so far. Let's see if it continues. Of course, he plays Jack Kelly, the spring Waterloo winner. Not a great singles winner himself. Cookie bowling, 15-10 in front, Roy and Brian.
So, the champion, 15, Jack Kelly, the outsider 10, and Cookson just where he wants to be. Right in the corner, scoreboard to scoreboard.
And I was talking with Glenn last night, Brian, and people had been saying to him, oh, you've got a good draw. With the greatest respect to Jack Kelly, not very well known. And Glenn quite rightly said, well, I feel that if I don't play my game, I'll get beaten. I have to play my game to win.
Yes. That's what it's all about. You can handpick your opponents if you like, but it's still down to you. Now then, Jack. Come on. Come on. Unlucky. Good bowl for nothing.
Certainly is.
Mind one of those, Roy. It's right beneath our commentary position. Glenn Cookson's maybe 2 inches. Jack about 8 inches. This one is not in it.
Glenn's 2.
It's got to be far enough.
Got a difficult bowl to play now. His own bowl's in the way. If he comes rambling through and he half bowls his own bowl, he could leave Glynn 2.
Yes.
Can only play about 2 yards over.
I think he's put something into that one, Roy. Yeah, he's probably put a couple of yards in. Now then, if the bias will work for him, it's a good effort, it's a good effort, it's a good effort, it's a good effort, fall, fall! Oh, it was unlucky, an absolute dead length bowl and it wouldn't fall in. Take your time, Jack, it might. No.
Cookson.
Good end.
1.
Cookson 1. Into the 19th end, nearly half an hour of quality bowling. Another blistering day in Blackpool. Hot for the players, hot for the spectators. Look at this lead. Just ran on more than he wanted, but really, when you consider the length and the problems, that is a very good bowl. I thought Jack got away badly, Roy.
Yes, he did. He got it away badly, and if you do that the way the green is, it punishes you. It stands up and punishes you. Yeah.
It's a bit of a nuisance though. It's in the way, so it's actually had the effect of forcing Glenn to try the other hand. Well, he can explore the possibilities if he's far enough.
In a way, of course, he's showing Jack Kelly that way in.
Yes.
I think Jack will follow it now, make sure he puts about 3 yards in his own bowl.
They got that way better. His line is slightly better because if the bias works truly, he has every chance, I tell you. He's got every chance. What a good bowl.
Kelly. 1.
Jack Kelly from Stretford, Manchester 11, Glenn Cookson, Winsford 16, but Kelly with the Jack. And up and just about coming off the crown. Distance halved, length important. He waved it on. I wasn't so sure that he needed to wave it on. Nope. Do you know, Roy, whenever he's tried this and shortened this, he's invariably led badly, hasn't he?
Yes, the only place he had some success was on the short mark right from middle to middle. Playing this, he will never have practiced this mark here because it's only just over the centre of the green. And you've got to put them so close for a player of to have any effect on a player of Glyn Cookson's class. Anyway, here he is now. Is he trying? He's just short.
Pity. Yeah. Just gets caught out by his leading when he tries to find different marks to test the champion. The champion invariably answered them. He always annoyed with that one, but he's certainly won.
Cookson. 1.
Another single. Glyn Cookson now. The lead, the gap is widening. 17-11. Let's see how things are in the family camp where Alistair Manny's talking to wife Linda.
Well, Linda, he seems very relaxed, but I can't say the same for you at the moment.
No, I'm always the one that gets all upset all inside.
Do you live every point with him? Do you play every bowl?
Well, I told him the other day I wish what I could do was actually fly across the green and pick any bowl up that's not in, right by the block for him, but you can't do that, can you?
Does he seem very relaxed this morning? Was he approaching it like any other game?
Yeah, he didn't go to bed till 12:10 last night. He always says leave the worry into him, so but I'm not like that. I get upset inside.
It looks as though, by the way things are going, touching wood and everything, as far as you're concerned, that he's going to miss out on his Molyneux trip this tomorrow afternoon.
Never say anything until 21's on the scoreboard.
OK, well, let's go back to Brian and get the overview.
Spoken like a true bowling wife. 17-11. Glenn Cookson, the champion. Can he win the Masters twice? Jack Kelly, he really is giving him a game.
Kelly.
Yes,
one.
Another one, Jack Kelly. $12-17. No, Jack, where are you going? Think, wait. Pick someone you know, Jack. Oh, he's gone a bit further. He's almost gone where Glyn might have gone, Roy.
Yes, he's gone the opposite
peg. The opposite peg, isn't it?
He's gone thumb peg, but I think this is all right. He's tried the short lengths and they've not worked because he's not led them close enough. He's having a go at some distance now. This is about 49 yards up here, all uphill with a downhill finish. This doesn't look too bad.
I think it's all right, Roy. If he can hit the jack, it would help. That's a good bowl. Glenn Cookson then has had a look at it. He's the specialist corner bowler. He's not going to get there. No. Jack Kelly. What an important end this. 12-17 he trails. He's holding one at this end. We have a whole new ball game, Roy, if you can count
again.
Two. We may have a different ball game here. Brilliant bowling, Jack Kelly. Quite unnerved by it. Glenn Cookson, totally different line to his first, but he did catch some rough land and it may take running out. Aye, aye, they're saying aye, aye. Oh, it's won it. Well, Roy, whether you're a champion or a novice, sometimes you need a little bit of luck.
Yes, they were two real perfect bowls of Jack Kelly's there, but Glenn Cookson came up with that bowl. I've thought at one time that he would strike, but to get a bowl like that and then for it to plop in, it's a class bowl, isn't it? You know, what can you say about that?
Well, he played the bowl and he got the reward. And sometimes you just need the rub of the green. Now then, he's ideally placed to go for the kill. 18-12, Glenn Cookson. A lovely lead. Just edged its way past the jack. And here's the other jack, Jack Kelly.
Can you see behind me?
Road. Looks all right. Watches it anxiously. Bit of body movement there.
Won it!
Won it! Those two magic words, Roy. Won it.
Yeah, that's a good ball from Jack Kelly because he'd got the length from the previous end and he's found the length again, but here's Glyn.
He needs a connection. Nope.
Can he repeat the dose?
Well, 18-12 Jack Kelly trails. Holds one at this end. Can't see this making any difference. Going to peg away. Length wrong. Line just wrong. Single. Jack Kelly.
One. Kelly. One.
$13-8, Jack Kelly. He bowled well in this direction a couple of ends ago. He's going to try it again.
Yes, he's got the jack much shorter, and why not? Why not change it just a little bit? He played two superb bowls the last time he came up here. Thumb peg just underneath the crown, then this is the running part of the green. I think he's got another good one.
I think he's really enjoying himself, Jack Kelly. He's a nice stylist. And he's giving it one heck of a go. Glenn Cookson knows he has a battle on his hands. Look at this, running up now towards the jack. Can it get there? Yes! Difficult for Jack. The bowl is in the approach, and looking anxiously on, wearing his Wolves cap, was Simon, son of Glenn. Take the jack. Jack has taken the jack and holds 2 at the moment. A good bowl. Different way in for Glenn. He doesn't know it because the jack has been moved a good yard and a half. Glenn Cookson. Does he read the green like a champion? You bet he does. Look at that. Brilliant. Well done, says son Simon.
1.
Great shot. Are we going to be watching Wolves tomorrow, Daddy says. No, says Glenn, we're going to be here. 19-13.
You have to feel sorry for Jack Kelly. I mean, he's played 3 superb ends, and this fella, he just won't leave anything, will he?
I'm going to give him a tape of this, Roy, later. He's going to love it. He has bowled, he won't let go. He's terrier-like. He's made the champion play. Long way across, drops a yard short. That's not good enough, says Glenn, because this fella can beat anything. Come on, Jack. More running in the bowl. Run away, they shout. That's all that's wrong with it. Glenn Cookson, 19-13 the advantage. He's holding 1. He needs 2 for game. This is better. This is further. This is almost on the jack. That's a superb second bowl. It's going to drop nicely. Now Jack.
You're 3 inches behind his bowl.
That's the lie of the land, Jack, and he's on the way. He's taking it all in. Delivers. Will it be his final bowl in this, the 1995 Bass Masters, or can he rest? Can he save? Can he count? What can he do? He's just gone through. He might have saved. It's saved. That's a good bowl.
Cookson, 1.
20-13. Glenn Cookson. 25 ends of super bowls right across the green. He won the title in the corners. If he's going to get rid of Jack Kelly, he's got to do it in the corners, and he's got to bowl and got to lead. Chance. This, the big bowl. Good bowl. Under pressure. Great distance. Absolutely in the approach against Jack Kelly. The man few people knew. They'll know him after this lot. Come on. Run!
Oh.
Well, yes and no, Roy, isn't it? Because he's opened it.
Yeah, well, that was a perfect ball.
Yeah.
You know, coming up, that was a perfect ball. That looked like coming up right onto the jack. He's been very, very unfortunate.
He's loving it. Look at him. He's loving it. He's standing there and saying to the champ, you look at it. You go and look at what you've got to do. I'm staying here.
Well, Glenn's lying in, so he's just wondering what Jack's going to do, whether he's going to move the jack. I suspect what Glenn might do is just put one behind. Behind the jack, but counting would be ideal.
But against this fella, who knows? He's unpredictable. He's bowled some super bowls. Right across, scoreboard virtually to scoreboard. Glenn Cookson, the champion. Needs 1 for game, holds 1. It's like a game of chess. What's my next move? I think he's going to stick another one, isn't he?
No, he's
gone
the other way.
further.
Yeah, and he's just narrowing out.
Right, now then, Jack Kelly, 20-13 down and 1 against him. Needs this to stay alive. I tell you what. Oh, he has!
Kelly.
He's got it. Kelly's eye, would you believe that? Corner to corner, the pressure bowl.
Yes, he just had to reach up on his own bowl. That's exactly what he did. Could have turned that bowl in, but ricocheted off it. Just came inside Glyn's bowl, counted the end. And really, Jack Kelly will feel that he's not done a lot wrong, and if he'd been playing anybody else, he'd probably be in the pavilion now, having won the match.
As it is, 14-20, still the champion needing one. Glyn Cookson needing one to reach the semi-finals against Jack Kelly, the club bowler from Manchester. The one nobody gave a chance to, and he said, I don't care. It's my day out this, I'm going to enjoy it. Run away, he shouts. Don't run away that far, that's all right. Just a little short. Forces the champion to go wide and try and negotiate a way around. Just cutting inside. Nope. Jack is still on. Now he's thinking. What's he thinking, Roy? Should I turn over?
He's asking how far short they are. He wants to know how much he's got to improve. He'll play the same way, just try and pass his own bowl. Jack Kelly then, just trying to go higher, work around his own bowl. He doesn't want to touch the Cookson bowl. Get off it, he shouts to himself and to everybody else. Oh, well, it was precisely the bowl he shouldn't have bowled. Yes, he wanted to be just a little bit wider with another 2 feet in. Here's Glyn now. He's going to see just how far the bowls are apart to see whether if he
can make contact.
If he punches the short bowl of Jack Kelly, whether it'll plant onto his own and put that in.
Do you think the other hand's on?
Possibly, yes. Well, either way he could do it. He can just miss them on the bottom side.
Jack's taking it easy. Glyn's trotting back. 20-14 to the champion, but one against him. Can he win it with this? He's trying to work his way round. He may even make a contact here. Or it just stuck out for him a moment. It works its way round and may settle or go through. Give us some advice. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Jack Kelly's got another one. Takes out his second bowl. Surely, another single. Surely.
Kelly.
Yes. 15-20, and just about the coolest man around. Look at him. He's chewing away, he's enjoying it. What a lovely afternoon out. 300 to the loser, guaranteed 500 to the winner, and possibly 7.5 at the end. Jack Kelly. The marks he likes. Wait, he's shouting. Length not bad, line just a little off. You would think the champ would improve on this. Now then, little pegging required, too far out. He can't do it. Can't do it. Got out. Kelly got to be closer. The back bowl, furthest back bowl, that of Glyn Cookson. Put that down very, very carefully. Too carefully, I think. Well, he holds two. They're not a great two. Glyn Cookson, what an opportunity. What a chance to get out of this. A real scrap. He's no better. He's no better. He might have left two. Oh dear.
Kelly.
Yes.
2.
So, Jack Kelly starts the 29th end, over 45 minutes. Nerve-jangling bowls. Glyn Cookson still one chalk away from a place in the semi-finals, but this the man who won't let go, Jack Kelly. Way bowl a shout.
Yes, going in this direction, it's a little bit of a push, and Jack was aware of that, but he overdid it. I think Glyn will wrap it all up now.
Well, that's the mistake that might just hand Glyn the game. Then again, that would look from here to be very beatable. It's a question of whether Jack can just keep his nerve. I think it's running a bit this. It might need a hit. Otherwise... Has he got it? No, it's gone out. Oh, Jack, what have you done? He's immediately conceded the game. Very sporting. A handshake. Oh, what a cracking match that was. The champion knows he's been in quite a cliffhanger. He's got out of it. He's very relieved, I'll tell you, because Glenn Cookson at 21 really had to work hard against Jack Kelly, 17. He's the man from Stretford, the man nobody knew. I'll tell you what, 1,500 people around here know all about Jack Kelly now. We're going to find out a bit more, because down on the green, talking to both players, Glenn Cookson and Jack Kelly, is Alistair Mann.
Well, Glenn, you're through, but when you were at 20, did you perhaps relax a little more than you really ought to have done?
Well, no, because I've seen it, I've done it all before. I've lost from those situations, Alistair, and I've won from them. And I knew it was vitally important not to let Jack to settle back again on his own length.
It was important, though, a few ends previously when you were lying against 2 or 3 times and managed just to come in with the ball right at the end.
Yes, I thought it was a very competitive game, really. Jack's played an awful lot of good bowls, not to count with him, and I've beaten him some bowls, really. He probably was open to get on the card, yeah.
Did you think there might be a miraculous recovery on the cards there?
Well, you always hope, but he played too well in the end. I think I counted maybe a few balls that I shouldn't, but a lot that I should. You know, I bowled 6-inch footwoods that didn't count in the end, so I think the better player won. So.
Is he looking like a potential champion?
To me, from where I was stood on the mat.
Of course, you've got the dilemma now of no Wolves tomorrow for you.
No, the season tickets are like gold. I've got something lined up. It'll be all right.
Well, good luck.
Well, there we go. From the original lineup of 32, just 6 remain. Glenn Cookson winning their confirmation, 21-17. John Bancroft demolishing Bob Crawshaw, 21-8. And the 2 remaining quarter-finalists, Tommy Johnson, Dave McDermott, Paul Stratt and Norman Fletcher. You'll be able to see all those games tomorrow, the final day of the Bassmasters 95.